This episode will be dedicated to the Brazilian jazz, experimental soul, Mexican bolero, funk, Chicago based artist known as Sparklmami. And if you'd like to hear more, please stick around. This is All Gas, No Trash. My name's Adam, and welcome back to the program, and welcome to a brand new episode. I'm pretty excited to talk about this artist, and the way that I discovered their music was through a song called Fajas, which I guess would translate from Spanish to English to a girdle. But I heard that song and I thought, oh, I got to do something about this. I can't just, listen to this song. I got to share it with the people. So I am rather, I guess, somewhat late to the game in discovering Sparkle Mommy's music, but we got to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get to the next segment. This specific segment will be covering information about Sparklmami, which is the creation of Ariela Granados, who was born and raised in Bryan, Texas, where she grew up on music like corridos, norteños, Christian music, cumbia. Then she eventually makes her way to Chicago, Illinois, where she studies at the University of Illinois, Chicago. And if I'm not mistaken from the Vocalo radio interview that I heard, is that she got her degree in visual media, and I think it was specifically for music, if I'm not mistaken. But while she was studying there, she was also working as a nanny. And one of the remarks that she made in the interview is talking about how she felt like she was working 10 times as hard as the family that she was working for. I'm guessing she was kind of getting at the idea that this was an extremely privileged family, and here she is trying to rub two pennies together to, I guess, pay for college, do her music thing. I kind of get the idea she was trying to say that in a more diplomatic way, but I think she's got a really grounded personality, at least from what I have seen in that interview. Very soft spoken and humble, but it is rather interesting to hear her story. And I mean, to grow up on some of the genres that I mentioned, cumbia, norteños, I guess corridos, and completely go the opposite direction with jazz music. It's something that she personally discovered in her college experience, probably at the beginning of her adulthood. And I just think that's really cool for her to discover that music so late, but have it be so impactful to her that she decides to mix all these different genres that she's experimenting with in her project. And to my knowledge, as far as I can see, is that she's currently a social media content strategist, which makes a lot of sense considering what she's been able to do with her music in terms of the visuals. um, for the Fajas music video, it's kind of got like this Brady Bunch, I guess, editing to it, where it's got these square frames where she pops up in like 9 panels, and it kind of reminds me of like the Brady Bunch. But even the attire she wears, in terms of like her glasses that got this horn rimmed exterior that reminds you of mid-century US fashion, I guess, like 1950s, 1960s type of stuff. But it's also like the color palettes that she uses for her music videos. I mean, in Quisiera, she has like this pink green color palette that she's working with for the, I guess, the bed covers, the curtains, and the walls are pink. But it's very appealing to the eye, and you can tell that she definitely wants to create an environment or mood around her music. And it seems like she has a pretty awesome team that she has developed from people that she's met in Chicago, which she has a deep adoration for, and that's probably why she stuck around. So it is cool that somebody like her, moves on from their hometown, eventually moving to Chicago with sights for bigger things, deciding to make her roots there. And, it just makes the world of music so much better when artists decide to dig in their heels or dig in their feet in different parts of the world to really build up music across all cities, right? I think, I don't want to hear everything coming out of LA. I want to hear it from Chicago. I want to hear it from Seattle or any other city besides Los Angeles or New York, right? So, shout outs to her for sticking around and adding to the legacy of great music from Chicago. One of the other things that she pointed out is that she is a disabled artist. I'm not exactly sure in what way, but it seemed pretty important to her. Perhaps that's something that she'll elaborate on going forward in articles or interviews. So I guess we'll find out exactly what that is once she mentions it somewhere else. I haven't found that at this moment, but once we do, we'll cover that because I'm sure she wants to create visibility for artists that are disabled. But yeah, Sparklmami is just an uber talented, multi hyphenate artist, both in the visual and sonic sense. The music is spectacular, which is something that we're actually going to get to right now. And the first song that we're going to be checking out is called Fajas. And I left the links for her artist profile for different digital streaming platforms for you to check out in the podcast episode description, and also the video version on YouTube. We'll also include some of the music videos for you to check out as the end cards for the episode itself. So go ahead and pull up Fajas from Sparklmami, and we'll go ahead and give it a listen. So this is Sparklmami with her song called Fajas, going in. Welcome back. That was Sparklmami with Fajas. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Man, that song is orgasmic, and one of my favorite parts about the song is when Ariella does this, I guess, like spoken word portion, and it is kind of deceptive because it almost has like a British accent to it, the way she delivers it. And knowing that she's Mexican and making this music, it's so strange. It's such a weird juxtaposition, knowing that she grew up in an environment where she listened to a lot of corridos and norteños. I guess, a lot of Mexican music. And then for her to make this, it's just like, what the hell? But yeah, I mean, this is just awesome stuff from Sparklmami. I mean, to have these, what I imagine is like two separate electric keys, one on the warmer side, I guess. It's got a little bit thicker sound to it, and there's like these other keys that also exist that kind of sound more like a traditional piano. I guess that's the only way I could really word it. But man, that bass line on that song is also extremely grooving. We also have moments where the keys get to have a little solo moment along with like the sax, which was also, well, I guess the word that's coming to mind is scrumdiddlyumptious, and I'm sure that word rings a bell for you from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But yeah, this is a really cool track, and it was actually featured on their live session. I forget what that series is called, but it's the one where they put artists or bands in an elevator and they just start jamming out. She did one as well, and Fajas was featured on this set, or rather on that set. Dude, and it sounds just as good, if not better, live. Especially, I mean, I didn't know how it was gonna sound in that elevator, but yeah, it sounds fucking just as good. But let's go ahead and get to the next track from Sparklmami, which is called Quisiera, and I highly recommend that y'all check it out in the music video form, because it is really a standout music video from Sparklmami that I think you should check out. I think it recently dropped, so make sure you watch the music video. I'll put it in the end cards for this episode for you to, I guess, listen to and watch if you wish, but let's go ahead and listen to Quisiera from Sparklmami. Pull it up on your digital streaming platform of choice or listen to it at the end of this podcast episode. Anyways, Sparklmami with Quisiera going in. Welcome back. That was Sparklmami with their song called Quisiera. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. One thing I forgot to mention on the last song we talked about is how beautiful the vocals of Ariela Granados is. I mean, here they sound, velvety and sensual. And I feel like she could actually fill out a venue with like pretty good acoustics with the way, how expansive it sounds. And I don't know if they did any special effects or editing to her voice after the fact that they recorded her vocals, but they sound really big at times, and I'm like, I wonder what she sounds like live. But yeah, this is a really beautiful track. I mean, the arrangements on the keys and the way that it's played, I don't know why a peacock comes to mind, and the way it kind of like struts around. That that visual comes to mind with the way the keys are like lightly tapped, and oh man, it's so good. And the fact that there's like congas accompanying that, it's just so breathtaking to hear this music. But beyond all that, we also have the introduction of flutes within this track, which is something I don't think we heard in the previous song, Fajas. But I wanted to show these two songs to show the contrast in the music stylings that Sparklmami dabbles in. And man, I just can't wait for that show that she's doing at the Morrocan Lounge, which is on July 22nd. If anybody's curious, I believe I left the ticket link in the podcast episode description if anybody wants to check that out in Los Angeles. If anybody wants to see Sparklmami live, I included the link for the tickets for that show. But there's a few other things I forgot to mention, so this is going to be kind of like a last-minute segment to talk about some of the things I forgot to mention in the info section of this episode. As far as I can tell, Sparklmami is currently signed to TBA, the booking agency, which also has artists like Rio Costa, Jungle, Hiatus Coyote. So, there's a possibility in the future down the road we could see Sparklmami performing with one or any one of those bands, and I'm sure there's other artists on TBA's roster that she can be paired with, but those are some of the artists that I've know about that's on their roster that could probably be in the same space as Sparklmami. And in addition to that, one of the signature looks of Sparklmami is that she has these gloves on that kind of look like the gloves you would wash with dishes or even your car, but they're like hanging loose and they're like dangling. But it is one of the signature looks or visuals that is part of Sparklmami, something to make herself stand out. So I just wanted to quickly mention that if you do see her perform live or you watch some of the videos, it is something that she intentionally did, and it's not just a coincidence that she's wearing these gloves. But yeah, I just wanted to include that last bit of information. And that'll conclude the episode. Hopefully you are now a fan of Sparklmami and you'll be checking her out at the Morrocan Lounge just a couple months away. We'll have the ticket links available in the podcast episode description. And that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time. Damn it, there was one more thing I had to mention, is that Sparklmami makes it a point to say that she's disabled because she felt like she had been, I guess, invisible to a lot of people because they only saw her disability. So for her to get any kind of recognition, even acknowledgement for her music, feels like a win for her. So I thought that was worth mentioning, and I'm sure that we'll possibly talk about it down the road when the eventual release of the debut album rolls around. But yeah, that was the last thing I had to quickly mention. So anyways, thanks for sticking around. Appreciate y'all being here, and I'll catch y'all next time.